The Legal Resources Centre has opposed the City of Cape Town's evictions of land invaders. But what does this mean, and what are the implications for city officials going forward? For more on the story, we cross live now to our reporter Yazeed Kamaldien, who is in Cape Town. A very good afternoon to you, Yazeed. The tensions in Cape Town continue as far as land invasions are concerned between the city and those who are occupying these lands. But the Legal Resource Centre has stepped in once again.
Exactly, that's correct. This morning I was just in Kraaifontein, an area where land occupiers have taken over City of Cape Town land. Now, the Legal Resources Centre in the Western Cape has been working to ensure that evictions are put to an end here in Cape Town during lockdown. I'm now going to interview Shirelle Das. She's the Western Cape Director for the Legal Resource Centre. Shirelle, good afternoon and welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
Good afternoon, Yazeed.
Shirelle, can you please give us an update on the work of the Legal Resource Centre, particularly in court action against the City of Cape Town?
Yazeed, we've been involved in various court applications to halt certain evictions that have happened. In our recent case, we've got an interim interdict against the city, calling on them to comply with the disaster management regulations that prohibits evictions and demolitions of structures during the national state of disaster.
Now, we do know that a court has decided that the City of Cape Town would need to get a court order before they attempt or before they go and execute an eviction on public-owned land. Now, what does that mean for people who decided to occupy land?
Well, it's an interim interdict, but the disaster management regulations are clear that if a private landowner is faced with a land occupation, they're still permitted to ask the court for an eviction order even during the state of national disaster, but the courts basically will have oversight over that and will actually balance the various factors, the rights of the evictees, the rights of the landowner, and obviously the context in which we are presently faced in terms of the pandemic, whether or not it will create homelessness if a court had to grant an eviction order during this time, and a consideration of whether the state will provide alternative accommodation for those facing eviction.
Now, some people have raised concerns and they think that when people do go and occupy or invade, as some people refer to it, a piece of public land, that it means they will take away from the public or others the opportunity for housing, the opportunity for the land to be used for greater good. What are your thoughts on that? I
think there's various issues, and we have to look at the context. The 2020 financial year for the city, they've only delivered less than 5,000 houses, and there's over 350,000 people on a housing list. And with the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of people have lost their homes. The rentals, backyard dwellers have actually been evicted, contrary to the disaster management regulations, and that has resulted in a lot of people seeking out vacant pieces of land to set up informal structures. So the disaster management regulations in our case doesn't stop or prevent a landowner or strips them from their ownership rights. All it does is protects the dignity of those people that are really seeking shelter from the elements, seeking a temporary structure until they find a permanent solution for their housing needs.
So this won't take away the rights of others, and it won't also inhibit the development or the building of houses for the public?
Look, it does present challenges for the City of Cape Town. As I said, their housing, they have a huge housing backlog. But with the rate in which they are going, it'll take approximately 70 years for them to actually resolve the housing crisis. And I think the pandemic has just exacerbated the issues around housing delivery and the need for vacant land. And this morning we had a landmark judgment in Kwasi and Reclaim the City. Has effectively opened up another debate on whether the accessibility or the availability of of public land within the city's prime property hub. And I think that shows that there are ways in which the city can allocate public land for housing, and there should just be a political will for them to do so.
Thank you. Thank you there to Sherelle Das, the Regional Director of the Legal Resources Centre, unpacking for us some of the complexities around land and public housing here in the Western Cape.